So we're here working on the rapid fire, and I've removed an old isolation transformer that was burnt up and not connected to anything because I guess it had burned up. Well, it turns out that this other transformer here has also decided to do that. We're going to turn the game on just so you can see what happens. I'm going to shut it off. So we've got it on a power strip so we can quickly shut it off, but we'll go ahead and turn it on. Alright. Hear noises. Game's on. There go the lights. Okay. We're going to take a look down here. You can start to hear it crackle. It sounds like it's starting to cook. Again, do you guys see that? We have some smoke coming out. So we're going to go ahead and shut it off now. But I wanted to show you that because this transformer is cooked. So we need to figure out how to find a way to replace this transformer. This transformer replaced another one that output the 50 volts to the motors here for the ball mechanism. So we're going to find a way. Oh, that stinks. That smells horrible. Ugh, we got to find a way to get another transformer in here that outputs 50 volts. And as you can see with all these wire nuts, it has been hacked in, and I've removed this so I can figure out what's going on. That's an addition. I really only needed the one in the back. But that's where we're at right now. So we've got the play field up. You saw the smoking transformer. We've found a new transformer to put in. This is a toroidal transformer here, and it has the 50 volts that we need. The old original transformer went in this section here, and then some operator put another transformer in to this location. It was a big block transformer. It had some other voltages on it, but it also included the 50 volts that was needed to run the two motors required here for Bally's rapid fire, which is the the knockoff title to, is it a Hyperball, I believe. So here's one motor, and this runs the agitator, and this is the agitator here that just feeds balls back and forth. And then there's a pickup motor here that spins this wheel. This is the motor here. It spins this wheel as it picks up balls as they come in to the trough and loads them into this so that you can fire that solenoid and launch the balls up the play field. So we've done a few things to get it to work. I was having some issues with the power and with that transformer. This is the power module board here. We'll go ahead and see if we can take this off. Maybe. There you go. And this is that board here, and it's got a few fuses on it. I did have to remove it, so what was happening is the game would turn on, but it didn't always turn on. It turned out that if you wiggled this wire here, or if you pulled up on it, it would gain power to the game would boot. Otherwise, it sometimes wouldn't, and it was inconsistent. I think what I had were dirty fuse terminals here for the fuse holders. And I had some cold solder joints, so I went through and I reflowed all those. You've seen that been done before. Basically, you take your soldering iron to it, and you put a little bit of solder on, or remove any solder if needed, and allow it to have a fresh solder joint versus a cold or cracked solder joint, which does not allow electricity to pass, which would be explaining why when I pulled up on this, the board would flex ever so slightly, causing it to gain power. But if I let go of that wire, it would go away. But I also did take the time to repin all those sockets. Now, they're not 093 sockets, they're .084 sockets, which I barely had enough to do. I don't usually have a bunch of those lying around, but I need to get some more. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the game so you can see the motors running, and we'll go from there. I will eventually clean up all this wiring, but let me just show you the wiring real fast. So as far as wiring goes and figuring this out, AC comes in through the power cord. It ends up going up to the service outlet here, and then through a line filter down here. It then, as you see here, connects into this connector here with the blue and the brown wire and goes to this black and white. And the black and white wire runs all the way over to the switch. And the switch is housed under here, and it's got, it sends things out from there. And then it came back and goes into the transformer that was there. Well, the transformer is now moved here. And out of that transformer, so here are my AC, my 115 volt in, okay, and this transformer is a toroidal transformer. I guess it's used in audio applications. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it came from a company called AnTek. I reached out to them and said, hey, do you have anything that would work for this? And they said, hey, could you send us a picture of the old transformer and the weight of it? The old transformer weighed about 7 pounds, and they did their approximations as far as what I would need. Now, I did pick up another transformer off of eBay, and I'll show that to you, and I'll tell you what happened to that. But anyway, the AC comes in. We've got it all soldered and heat shrink tubing on it. And our blue and green wires are we can talk, I guess, are 50 volts, and the 50 volts AC goes to this connector, and those blue and orange wires go over to each one of those motors here through a connector. Here's the other connector. An orange and blue for each one. The 110 then also goes out and goes over to our ballasts and our starters for the fluorescent lights that are in the back glass. Now, there are none in there now. Previous owner said he puts them in, and that's when the smoke started to happen. I don't know if that's directly related to it or not, but the smoke was coming from the other side of the transformer that was in there previously. Here is the original transformer that provides power to this board and goes to pretty much everything else needed for the game. But this just does the 50 volts for the motor. That's its sole purpose. So the game is on. I just want to show, there are the lights going up, and I've got to have a ratchet strap holding it in place because underneath is a trough, and then this goes up, and these play fields don't sit nicely. I had to take off one of the back plastics, and I've got the control panel off here. But, we made it work. But there it is, and you can see we've got some 13 credits on it right now. I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to hit the start button on it, and when I hit the start button on it, it starts a game naturally, but it also activates these motors, and I want to show you these motors running because I feel like that's one of the more important parts of this game and making sure you know how it runs. So we'll come over here, we'll hit the start button, and here we go. So you can see we've got that motor running. That spins that, grabs the balls. And then here is our other agitator motor. That's how that spins. We'll come look at it from another angle. You can see both of them running there. And it will go until the game stops, so you get a game over. And those just run constantly until it's done. And that's the sole purpose of each one of those. And then it stops. You get a game over. And we're good. I like to touch that. That's not hot. We'll come over here. This is cold to the touch still, which is good. Now the other transformer, let me go ahead and show you that. So here's the mess on the carpet, all the trash, and not all these were wire nuts removed. All these little yellow ones here are ones that we pulled off. Here's the transformer that they put in place where they gave us some extra voltages. It looks like they gave us 14.2 volts and 9.4 volts, which I don't need. And you can tell down here that this thing was smoking and bubbling up and not working for us. But here's the one I bought off of eBay to try. And directions where, attach the AC. So we needed the black and the blue for the 110. You can see it's already discolored. It's got, it's got black on it. This is not black. It was all white. It's discolored up here at the top. But anyway, we connect the black and the blue wires. And they said if we tie together the two 24-volt lines and together and then use the black, we'll get 48 volts. And I was like, you know what, that's good enough because I couldn't find anything at the time. This transformer cost about $25-30 from eBay. Now let me show you to you its size. Here it is in comparison next to the original. It's a little bit smaller. I don't think it can handle the load. And this one also started smoking. And we put it next to the other one too. It's also on the smaller side and couldn't, probably why it started smoking. It could not handle the load that the motors were drawing. Or it wasn't working, or it's defective, one or the other. But it did not work properly. So unfortunately, the eBay one did not fit our needs. It's a 3 amp one too. And per the spec sheet, so was the other one, but this one is able to handle, the toroidal one is able to handle more power. Now the next steps of this machine are to put it back together and lower the playfield down so that we would try it out. I haven't actually played a game on it since it's been in the house yet, but we'll give it a whirl here after we put it all back together. I gotta figure out how to do that. I have to single-handedly lift this playfield up and put that trough down. And let me show you the trough just so you know what's going on here. We'll turn this. Okay. This hole here is our access to the power board, so we can access it after we lift up just the playfield. All the bolts fall in, they roll down, and they all gather down here, and it gets fed into where we saw those agitator motors. Okay, and that's where that sits. And then we have our control panel over here, which is got our joysticks that swivel, and they have fire buttons on it. We still have some work to do here, but we should be close to doing things. And I'll clean up my mess because it's a mess. But we have progress. So that's good. And maybe we'll have some beer, some homebrew beer perhaps. This is homebrew beer. And I even have over here a kit to do, this is the board for the Williams, switching power supply. Not Williams. Why did I say Williams? This is the Bally Midway Pac-Man adapter. Williams. What am I thinking? For the cabaret that's hiding over there. Perhaps we'll talk about that someday.